From UFOs to psychic powers and government conspiracies, history is riddled with unexplained events. You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. A production of iHeartRadio.
Welcome back to the show. My name is Matt.
My name is Noel.
They call me Ben. We're joined, as always, with our super producer, Dylan, the Tennessee pal Fagan. Most importantly, you are here. That makes this the stuff they don't want you to know. It's the top of the week, fellow conspiracy realist, which means it's time for some strange news. We've got some heist. We've got some true crime, not in the way you might think. We've got some mysteries. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We're heavy on funny crime today.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've even got some conundrums trying to think about how we punish people for breaking things like breaking laws, like traffic violations and things like that. Like, how do we do it here? How do other places do it? And is there a better way?
There must be a better way.
Oh, it reminds me of this statement that stuck with me because you guys know I'm traveling. I'm in a very crowded place. And one of the best statements I heard about traffic recently is whenever you're in a jam, you have to remember you're not in traffic, you are traffic.
Yeah.
Right?
Is it boneheaded of me just to blindly pay all these traffic citations I get in the mail that claim to have seen me on some sort of camera?
No,
there's a link to dispute it, but I usually miss the window for the link, and then it's just like, well, I guess I just have to give you my money now.
You have to pay your fines. You do not want a bench warrant.
No, I would never.
You don't. Because you could get jammed up so fast with a bench warrant. We're also gonna, you know what? We're also gonna solve the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle.
What?
In one sitting?
Just in one sitting, because get it. I said, get it. We'll keep it. Believe it or not, folks, or get it, folks. We have somehow, after more than a decade of podcasting, not done an episode on the Bermuda Triangle.
How is this possible?
I don't know. We've done every other imaginable variation.
Every shape. We've covered all the other ominous shapes, just not the Bermuda Triangle.
We made a video about the Bermuda Triangle and then the Dragon's Triangle, right? Which was an equivalent place.
And then we did an episode on the Dragon's Triangle for audio. But yeah, you're right. We never did the Peruvian rhombus. We haven't done. That's not the Peruvian doom rhombus. We have to make it.
Is that
mysterious.
the Nazca lines or is it something different?
Line isn't a shape. Okay, I will die on that hill.
Okay, it's something. Okay. It's something we've made up here, and we hope it doesn't become a real conspiracy.
A line is a shape component.
Yeah.
Okay,
true that.
Okay, sorry, I'm not yes-anding very well.
A line is a shape. So, what if we, since we're going to cover so much funny crime today, why don't we just start with parrots? You guys have heard the phrase stool pigeon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Never fully understood where it came from.
Is that just? What is that?
Is a stool referring to the seat or the excretion?
I
know that. You don't think so?
No.
Okay. It's a reasonable question.
I mean, we know that it's used nowadays to mean an informer, right? A snitch, a spy. Yeah. It used to mean a decoy. A pigeon used as a decoy was a stool pigeon, and now we just mean it. Now we just use it to mean this person is snitching. So I think
bit of a Benedict Arnold.
A bit of a Benedict Arnold, one of the only bad Bens, up there with Benito Mussolini.
It's true.
We don't claim those Bens, which is why we say the full Benedict or Benito, and not Ben Mussolini or Ben Arnold. This is a true story, folks. We owe a debt of thanks to Mango the Parrot. Mango the Parrot said the following in a video clip that actually helped solve crime in the United Kingdom. Want to hear it? Here it goes.
Yes.
25.
I'm going to keep it close there. I'm going to replay it one more time.
Can you decode? Okay.
25.
Keep it 25?
One more time.
25.
No, hold on. Hold on. That is the parrot? saying that?
That's the parrot. He's
Sounds like someone saying it off
2 for 25.
Yes.
2 for 25.
Why does the parrot have an English accent? I don't understand.
Because he was taught by people in the United Kingdom.
Does this not seem like an Agatha Christie plot twist? Like it would have given away the game when the parrot like named the killer or something?
Lancashire police raided some homes in Blackpool, and that's where they discovered Mango the parrot. He belonged to the girlfriend of a drug gang ringleader named Adam Garnett.
Oh, 2 for 25. It's a drugs thing.
It's a
deal.
drug-dealing
It's a steal. Love it.
So the gang members who are now, in deep trouble, they filmed the parrot. Everybody in the crew loved Mango. Mm-hmm. So they would film Mango saying drug phrases. They would film Mango playing with cash. Apparently,
like fanning it out, like making it rain.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Like Lil Tay from back in the day. And this drug ring was pretty profitable until they got caught. They had something to the tune of £1 million of narcotic profits. Okay. And this is the ringleader and 14 people, so 15 people all told, thanks to the testimony
Can
of
you
Mango
subpoena
the
a parrot? Can't
you don't have to. They love to talk.
That's fair.
You don't have to. You don't have to jam up a parrot. They're so ready to go. Anyway, this drug gang, thanks to Mango the parrot's police work and cooperation, they have been jailed for a combined total of more than 103 years. So no judgment call, folks. But if you're up to some shenanigans, just be careful, how you hang out with parrots.
Who needs Big Brother when you got Mango the parrot?
It's only the second person that I've cared about named Mango.
That's true. We love Mango. There's a real person in our lives named that goes by Mango. It's true.
Yes, the legendary Mangesh Hadagatur. If you ever see him involved in a podcast, check it out immediately.
Yep, seal of quality. The Mango seal of quality is what we call it.
Yes, the Mango stamp. Guys, what if we do something a little bit different for today? Do we want to pause for a word from a sponsor and then just like round robin with stories?
Oh, I think so.
That sounds good.
Matt, what's some strange news on your mind?
Oh, buddy, I've got some really interesting strange news today. If we want to get into this, we were talking about fines. We kind of talked about it, hinted at it in the front. Okay. In our big series we did on diplomatic immunity, we talked about how there are vastly different ways that punishments are doled out. Or, well, let's put it this way. Theoretically, punishments are standardized when it comes to fines and things, right?
All people should be equal in the eyes of the law.
But the way it
unless they're diplomats.
Yes, unless they're diplomats. If they're not diplomats, then the way it affects every individual person is going to be different based on things like their income, their family, the overall wealth that they have, right? Because if, let's say, it's a $500 fine for speeding.
Okay.
That's going to hit some people as a devastating blow. Right? But for other people, it's like going and buying a soda at the gas station or something. And that's just the reality of it.
Ooh, that's an interesting thing to bring up there, Matt, because there is a country, I want to say it may be Finland. There's a Scandinavian country where your fine depends upon your income.
Well, thanks for scooping it, Ben. Jeez,
okay, take it back. Take it back. Sorry, take it back.
No, it's too late.
Promethean over here.
It's too late. The badger's already out of the bag. Give it to us. What happens in Finland and Scandinavia?
It doesn't seem right the way it's currently done. So there is a potential fix for this problem, guys. And it comes to us from countries like Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. And there are many more, by the way, the Nordic countries. There was a gentleman who was caught going way too fast in a Swiss city, just on the street. He was going 17 miles per hour, 27 kilometers per hour over the speed limit in a place called Lausanne, Switzerland.
Sure. I know it well.
Fancy place.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, he was going 17 miles over, right? He is facing a fine of up to $110,000.
Like U.S. dollars.
Whoa.
U.S.
dollars,
equivalent.
not Swiss
No,
francs.
I got it.
90,000 Swiss francs.
Okay, first of all,
90,000 Swiss francs.
17 miles over. Here, that wouldn't even be considered like a super speeder ticket.
Not at all.
Well,
Right.
Not at all.
It's Europe, so it's going to be more strict just in the baseline.
That's true. So why are they jamming this guy up in this fashion?
Well,
What did he do?
This person is a repeat offender, at least according to ABC News.
A recidivist, you say?
Yeah, reporting on August 12th.
Offender.
And he is one of Switzerland's wealthiest people. So
whoopsie.
Yeah, he's on a list of the top 300 wealthiest people in Switzerland. And so in Switzerland, when you are facing a fine like this, a civil penalty, they don't base it on some kind of standardized number if you're going a certain mile per hour over or something. They base it on the wealth or family status or basically who you are as a person and how much you've got in the bank.
I think that's what they call making an example of you. Yeah.
Your social and financial context.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So if you're someone who has almost no wealth, right? What, at least
like, say, a podcaster.
Yeah, if you're a podcaster, you may not face a fine at all. You will just spend the night in jail.
Now, I am not against this idea of letting the punishment not necessarily fit the crime, but be meaningful in some way. You know, otherwise, what incentive do people have for not speeding or not breaking the law? But this seems a little overkill, but I'm just putting that out there.
Let's also point this out, that this idea, this kind of tiered system of fines is tremendously popular with the vast majority of people who live in those countries. There are some people who don't like it, and they're the very well-to-do people on the far end of the spectrum.
Well, yeah, again, it's what we talked about. A lot of these fines, traditionally, at least in the U.S., have been treated as a slap on the hand. If you get even a $500 speeding ticket or something, it's nothing to some people, but to others it has a massive effect on, let's say, your monthly expenses or something. It just kind of looms over your head. It's a really interesting way to handle it, because even if you've got millions of dollars, like this other guy who was riding around in his Ferrari. He is facing a ticket equal to $290,000 US for speeding in 2010.
Now, that may smart, right? But that's not going to keep him from eating that week.
Well, it won't. But imagine, like, if you're somebody on those upper echelons, your wealth manager coming to you like, oh,
we really got to knock off the speeding, buddy. Yeah, this is not. Yeah.
I'll do the wealth manager part.
Okay.
Admiral von Frederick.
Yes.
We've got the latest Q4 petty traffic crimes report in, and Admiral, you're just going to have to either stop speeding or you'll have to stop doing it while you're drinking.
Yes.
Hogwash. I do what I want.
Yes.
All right, we'll put it in the hogwash file.
Yes, it's a tax write-off.
There's another really interesting thing that happens here as, again, if you're really trying to stop people from doing things like speeding or any kind of punishment you would get for public disturbance, something like that. Just these smaller fine things.
Sure.
The courts fined this one person around $12,000 up front, and then said, if you violate one of these rules again in this same similar way, we are going to fine you the rest of what you owe, which would be around $98,000. And then if you do it again, we're just going to double. We're going to start increasing that number every time you violate again. So
that makes sense.
It does seem like a way to prevent some of those things from happening.
You know what this reminds me of? There's a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode that went into this idea of scarlet letter punishments, where like you do a thing and you get punished in a way that like outs you for having done the thing. Like you have to like publicly wear a sign of shame of some kind, like DUI, habitual DUI, I guess convictions leading to a certain kind of license plate that has like whiskey on it or something like that.
Wow.
They call them, I think it may be Ohio, they're called party plates.
Yeah.
Really?
They give, yes.
But it's certain judges
offenders for
are big on
driving
this.
Inebriated.
And it is up to the discretion, of course, of the judge to dish out these scarlet letter punishments here in the United States.
Oh,
And
man.
so one thing that's clever, going back to your story, Matt, one thing that's clever about this system of punishment is that it removes the trouble with a flat rate punishment, right? I can't remember the stand-up comic who said it. They were talking about divorce, and they said, if you owe $10,000 in a divorce and you make $10 million a year, you can live with it. If you owe $10,000 in a divorce and you make $100,000 in a year, then you might be in trouble. So raising this stuff, raising it based on the socioeconomic context or the financial means of the person added with their repeat crimes, it avoids the error of making something just the quote unquote cost of doing business.
Sure. Yes.
Sure. Yeah, I think I'm on board.
Well, here's the other thing, guys. How many? We've all gotten a speeding ticket, right? We've gotten a speeding ticket.
Oh my God! You got a speeding ticket?
Yes, when I was a kid,
Monster.
I was speeding going down South Georgia, heading towards Columbus, and I got a speeding ticket. Oh, well, it was a police officer who physically had one of those radar things, checked my speed. That's how I got a ticket. In this case, this person is being charged $110,000 US from an automated system.
I talked about this a minute ago during the intro. I recently paid a $95 parking ticket that I was notified of via the mail, and I missed the window to dispute it, and therefore I had no choice but to pay it.
Yeah.
But you do kind of have to trust these systems, which I don't know if I inherently do.
Well, can you imagine a computer just telling you, hey,
$100K?
Yes, I can. I can, because it's a calculation. I'm going back on the Ben's Big Brother rant, you guys, because I can absolutely believe it. I'm a face on a screen as I say this, just like the adaptation
Pay no
of
attention to the man
1984.
behind the curtain.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, but the reality is that automation is, people talk about it on internet forums all the time about how it hits private industry, but it's coming for law enforcement too. We're not too far away from a world wherein the law enforcement and the judges may be largely automated. And some people would argue that might be a more fair world, but I am skeptical.
Well, we've certainly talked about how the algorithm-based crime prediction is a real interesting place in the future.
Reminds me of Idiocracy. All right, now, this court is in order. Shut the hell up.
Your Honor, we got all this evidence and stuff,
The one thing that didn't age well about that movie is their repeated use of the F word.
Yeah.
You're
right.
Not great.
But again, that's like...
But no, it is real, though.
It's the point, right? The point is
the intention was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what else do we need to know if we're our loyal conspiracy realists in the crowd? What else do we need to know about this story?
We need to know that this is, I think, an awesome way to do civil penalties and things like that. And I don't know, we were talking earlier with I guess we call him our boss, but more of our bro, Will, from Part-Time Genius. We were hanging out with him earlier talking about this. And he said, or he made the point that he doesn't think it would ever come to fruition in the United States, at least on a federal level, right? Because these laws that we're talking about are on the local level or a state level usually. So maybe we could find places in the U.S. that start doing this, but he doesn't think it would be a blanket thing.
It seems like the criticism in the U.S. would be it's communist, or it's like socialism. This idea of paying your share doesn't typically go over super well here.
But
it wouldn't make you. It would violate to a lot of people the idea of being treated equally under the law, which is a buzz.
I'm sorry.
Buzz
Come
term.
on.
I know.
Come on.
I'm saying it's a buzz. I'm not the one.
I know,
who
dude.
made that idea.
I know.
It's just it's the buzz phrase that people throw around. Add to that, Congress has a lot of financial heft, and their primary campaign contributors are people who'd have to pay more for parking tickets. So I agree with Will. I think it'd be better if it did happen, but the odds are stacked against us in the States.
Agreed. But if you think about it objectively, I think maybe you could get enough people to see the light here, because how do local areas get income for things like roads, for, and repairs like that, for all kinds of things that are public utilities, public things that go on? You get that funding a lot of the time from these types of penalties, from the lottery, from depending on what taxes are on things like alcohol and cigarettes. That's where these counties generally in the U.S. get their money. If you had a couple of really rich folks in your county that ended up paying $100,000 fine.
One ticket paid for swimming for the whole year.
Seriously. I don't know.
But then that could lead to corruption as well, right? Because now, what if we are watching those people far more closely to see whether or not they're wearing a seatbelt?
Yes.
I'm also, if I were, in this small town you're describing, Matt, I'd be all about it. You know what I mean?
Everybody else would be, except for that one person.
Yeah, because you're outnumbered then, right? And it's also interesting. I guess we probably don't have time to get into this, but it's interesting to see how this might be applied in countries that have different laws or legislation around morality. Like, what if your first divorce does cost more, depending on how much you make, but what if your second divorce, no matter what, has higher fees? What if your third divorce has even increasingly higher fees? I guess we have to include those sort of, we have to remember that there are a lot of countries that have religiously based moral laws. Yeah. And that's where it could get sticky too.
For sure. Yeah. I think you'd have to make a clear separation of that kind of thing. Just for the things it's the rules that everybody is agreeing upon. If you break one of those, sorry.
But it's a similar argument to the idea of like taxing the wealthy,
Yeah.
I mean, and that certainly doesn't go over well here. In fact, there's a lot of, in this current administration, laws being passed so that the wealthy have to pay the less tax. And this notion of carrying your fair share because of the fortune that you have had the benefit of achieving under our financial system, people don't like that.
Yeah, agreed.
It feels like punishing success is the argument. Yeah.
I'm going to leave it with this, guys. Again, from ABC News, the vowed criminal, V-A-U-D. I think that's how you would say it. The vowed.
I vowed to take down all criminals.
That's the region.
He's vowed and avowed.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the region in Switzerland. Their criminal code sets a maximum financial penalty based on the, quote, personal and economic situation of the offender at the time of the ruling, which is really interesting and important. So it takes into account issues like income, fortune, lifestyle, and family financial needs.
Has there been any pushback in the region about this?
I'm not seeing any pushback here, but again, we've got a single story from ABC News talking about something that happened in Switzerland. There's more to be learned.
That's true.
We have to go to the town hall meeting.
That's right. But for now, we're just going to go to the ad parlor. We'll be right back with more strange news.
And we have returned with more strange news. Gonna lead with a couple of quick mentions. We love a weird heist, and this is one for the books and for our time. $7,000 worth of something called Labubu. Was heisted from a specialty toy shop in Los Angeles. What is this
Number
Labubu?
One suspect?
Yeah. Tell me of this Labubu.
Well,
number one suspect.
Where should we start?
Who is the number one suspect, Ben?
Liam Neeson.
Oh, no.
It's a great clip of Liam Neeson being presented with the existence of these Labubu, which I'm obviously playing up my ignorance of. I know what a Labubu is. I love a blind box as much as the next guy. Pop Marts are fun, but...
Well, then tell us about those.
These kinds of crazes are always there. It's like a Pokemon craze or like the Pog craze of the 90s, or probably a better analog is Beanie Babies. This idea of a perceived scarcity of a fashion association, a sort of luxury perception almost, like they're being treated like a Louboutin shoe or something, but it's a Labubu instead. It's these little creepy grinning devil monster things. I'm also seeing some delightful memes about, I don't know if this is true or not, Christian groups saying that they are satanic and they're demonic and must be stopped.
Because their brows are furrowed, they have pointy teeth, they're plush toys.
They have horns.
There's also, well, the bunny rabbit.
Fair. One man's bunny rabbit ears is another man's horns, devil horns.
We've always said that on the show.
It's true.
This is also, I think you nailed it with the manufactured scarcity, so much so that there's an entire global industry of something called Lafufu or Fabubu.
Yes, for sure.
The knockoff ones, yeah.
I was just hanging out, having an adventure in our lovely area of Buford Highway here in Atlanta, which is a mecca of amazing ethnic cuisine and, shopping and, everything from Vietnamese, banh mi shops to excellent taquerias. And I was at this really incredible karaoke shop that just sells, you probably know all about this, Ben, with your travels, but like karaoke is huge, obviously, in Japan. And there's lots of like different CDs you can get that have specific visuals and artists that are specifically kind of karaoke-fied. So this is a shop that's devoted to that. And behind the counter, they had a string of Labubu, faux boo-boos hanging. And I was like, surely those can't be authentic. I didn't ask. But if they were authentic, I think they would have been selling for quite a bit more money.
Now, okay, guys, is it? This is all I know of this kind of blind box.
All you know of Labubu?
I imagine, I'm bringing it up again. Sorry, stuff they don't want you to sandwich. The way I imagine it is like the Magic the Gathering cards. They sell them on purpose in those 10 to 15 packs. You don't know what's inside it. You get the lottery feel.
There's a lot of built-in redundant purchasing built into this model.
Yes,
we'll say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so there are certain ones like those cards where like a couple of them are worth crazy
there's
money.
like one that's called a gold Labubu, I think.
Guys, my girlfriend taught me this. For these kinds of collectibles, they're called chasers. The ones that would be the equivalent of the rare MTG cards.
The golden ticket from Willy Wonka fame. Yeah, for sure. I think there literally is one that's called a 24 karat gold Labubu. I don't think it actually is made of 24 karat gold, but that is one of the most sought after ones. And they're auctioning for upwards of 20K American.
So, Noel, riddle me this. Why are we bringing up Labubu? Why the sudden interest?
Yep. Then I just mentioned that story there out of Los Angeles. And there is actually another story. This is good news. This came on August 12th, just yesterday as we record this, whereas the previous story was a week or so old. Police recover $30,000 worth of Labubus in foiled Southern California heist.
Whoa.
Thousands of dollars worth of highly collectible Labubu figurines were recovered during a burglary investigation in San Bernardino County. Authorities announced earlier this week. In all, 14 boxes. That's only 14 boxes.
No.
Of the furry little monsters, which are currently having a huge popular culture moment where an estimated 30 grand were recovered, police say.
How is that possible? They're tiny, right? Aren't they small?
Well, no,
little figures?
They're medium.
They recovered it from the scalpers who had already inflated the price. That's my
yeah,
theory.
exactly.
Okay.
What they are worth on the open market, not exactly, not retail.
Do they have a drug bust photo? You know,
dude, yes, absolutely. Drugs on the table.
Oh, wow.
Labubu's on the boxes. Yeah, look it up for yourselves.
And there's only 14 of them.
There literally are. You can see every single one of them. And obviously this is associated with this company called Pop Mart, which is very popular place that you might only find in bigger cities. They are really, really neat. I'm a huge blind box fan. I have no skin in the game as far as like, I need to get this one. I just think they're fun. I enjoy getting them, and there's certain designers that I like, but I'm not about that life.
Ryder and I have gotten several Pokemon like blind boxes like that we really like.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm losing my shirt to these Labubu and these. I got to wake her up and ask what the other ones are, but they run my house.
The chibis, what? I've been to the Pop Mart over at the Mall of Georgia and walked in, and it wasn't Pop Mart, it was a different one. But it was an
Miniso, perhaps.
It was an entire store of shelves of these boxes.
Yeah. They're
shelves
huge.
And shelves and
They're
shelves.
huge. Yeah, I've been to a couple Pop Marts. There's one in the Oculus World Trade in New York at that train stop. The Oculus, that weird mall. There's one in there that I was at recently, and there are lines out the door often because, again, to the perceived scarcity of it all, most of these brick and mortar shops are very small, and that's sort of by design.
And you also have to get this, guys, to accelerate this. You also often have to enter a lottery for the ability to enter the store and shop. You have to pay to win a chance to spend money, which is, ethics aside, brilliant. And anybody listening, I need your help. Not entirely with my consent. My house is slowly turning into one of those stores. So
yeah, I'm not far off from you, Ben.
Welcome.
Huge fan of these. We got them lining every windowsill in the spot, but I don't have a Labubu and don't really care too much about it. So this took up a little more time than I was expecting, but it is interesting in this whole perceived scarcity and the fact that this dude that created this quite a while ago to, very niche acclaim is now a multi-billionaire, Ben, you were mentioning?
Yes.
Young dude too.
Yeah, is a young man with a incredibly tragic backstory. His name's Ka-Sing Lung, Hong Kong illustrator and the Pop Mart designer. He's clearly best known for Labubu, but I think we were all surprised to learn that he is actually, I don't remember his specific net worth, but he is a billionaire. He's pretty young as billionaires go, about 52 years old, but he's a self-made man, which we love to see.
Oh, I thought he was a little younger than that, but I guess as billionaires go, that is somewhat young. So real
It's
quick,
the skincare.
That's very true. So real quick, I just want to mention a couple other stories. A swarm of jellyfish took out a French nuclear power plant. Basically, this power plant, the Gravelines nuclear power station in France, had to go offline due to a massive swarm of jellyfish that clogged up its cooling systems.
Whoa.
And Vice does a really fun job of putting this in underdog story terms. They say, actually in the article by Louis Prada, if you've ever felt powerless, remember that a bunch of spineless, brainless sea creatures that look like floating plastic grocery bags just temporarily shut down one of Europe's biggest nuclear power plants. So, take that for what it's worth. It's a story of inspiration.
You may not be that powerful, but if you are many, you can make things happen.
That's exactly right. It's like the plot of the movie Ants or A Bug's Life.
Or World War Z.
The plot of literally every revolution in human history.
We
there
are
are
Legion.
more of us than there are of them.
We are Spartacus.
Yeah.
So that's the real quick mention of that one. And the last one that I just think is fun in Oso, Florida, is a dude wearing a Chuck E. Cheese mascot outfit at an actual Chuck E. Cheese restaurant in Tallahassee, Florida, was escorted out by police in handcuffs with the head on and everything, right in the middle of taking photos with children.
Wow.
I think it's a little poor form from the Tallahassee Police Department. Gotta say. Whatever this man did, which was like, I think he made some illegal purchases on a stolen credit card. Not cool.
Okay.
Had a little weed
cool.
on him. Had done some credit card fraud in the past.
Sure. Okay.
But come on, man. Perp walking Chucky Entertainment.
Here's my theory. When I saw this, my theory was this guy, hopefully, I'm painting him as an anti-hero in my mind, folks. He was getting arrested, right? And they were like, take off your costume, take off your mask. And he said, no, I'm going down the way I came up as the mouse.
Well, apparently they did take the head off once they got to the police car, adding to the trauma of the young children.
They broke the kayfabe.
That's exactly right. And in the reporting from Fox 35 Orlando, I'm just going to read the headlines because it has the most heartbreaking quote from one of the small children who's clearly traumatized. Chuck E. Cheese mascot arrest leaves impression on Florida family. Quote, does this mean Chucky's gone forever? So, by the way, I misspoke earlier and called him Chucky Entertainment. It's Charles Entertainment, y'all.
Yes.
Making sure
it's Charles.
Put some respect on his name. Okay.
It's only Chuck if you know him personally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Charles W. Chuck Entertainment.
There you go. So that's all, y'all. Nothing really analysis-wise worth going into on this one. Just a little bit of excessive force on the part of the cops and punishment not quite fitting the crime. Couldn't they have waited until he got off his shift?
And not ruined things for the kids, because also the parents are trying to do something fun for their, it's weird. Anyway, also tell us last time you perp walked a mascot.
I do want to add a funny little detail. Law enforcement, it says in the Orlando piece, has not yet said whether the costume disguise was used with intent to evade detection, which could lead to a further charge.
That would be amazing.
They are jamming this guy up.
Seriously, man. And we've been jamming up this entire episode, by the way, which I love. Authorities have not confirmed whether additional charges are pending, but so far we have the possession charge and the credit card fraud charge. I will just say, as we close this segment out, that there is a new Chuck E. Cheese concept coming to America that is for adults only.
It's not good. There's one in the Mall of Georgia.
It seems like it wouldn't be good.
It's terrible.
It seems awful. It's like sub Dave and Buster's.
Yep.
It's no Club Apple. You guys remember that?
It's no Times Square Applebee's.
Right.
What is Club Apple?
Our pal, Mission Control, Paul Deckett.
Oh, yeah.
Club Apple was an effort by the Applebee's company to have a more of a late night disco vibe.
Sick.
For the swingers. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's take a quick break here, word from our sponsor, and then come back with Ben's strange news of the day.
And we have returned, folks. We're going to move quickly through some things for time in the last act of our weekly Strange News segment. I want to start with a correction to an earlier story. While Kassim was the guy who originally designed Labubu, the billionaire, the guy who made the money off of it, Edison style, is the Pop Mart CEO, Wong Ning. He is 38. His net worth is something like $22.1 billion.
Okay, so that's not the Labubu guy. The Labubu guy is 50?
It is the guy who made the money off Labubu by using Pop Mart. The artist, Kassim Lung, is doing well for himself, but he's not a billionaire.
Not the billionaire. Okay, because some of the reporting was a little vague around that. I appreciate the clarification, Ben.
It feels a little Tesla Edison, does it not?
I don't disagree, dude. Or a little Tesla. Like Elon, right. His whole grabby hands at other people's ideas.
And congratulations to you, Elon. You're a big fan of the show, I'm assuming. You just got a promotion as well.
And I hope Big Balls is okay. I heard he got beat up by a bunch of kids.
Mm.
Did you see the pay scale for that guy, the pay package?
Yeah. That's what he's talking about. I think he got a big old stock package.
It's massive. These aren't even the stories to close out the last part of our Strange News segment. Folks, here's our big last story. We talked about the Bermuda Triangle at the top. We wanted to deliver on this. There is a guy who says he has solved the Bermuda Triangle.
Thank God.
Snap.
Thank
God. He
just
sat down. He figured it out. In my head, what I'm picturing is the guy just found out about the Bermuda Triangle earlier in August. And he said, well, no one's really figured this out. And they said, no, we don't know. And he said, crikey. And he sat down.
Hold my Fosters.
My Fosters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, do you ever wonder if it takes somebody who has no context for a problem to be able to analyze it and then actually see the thing that everybody else is blind to because they've been looking at it for so long?
100%. That's why so many revolutionary breakthroughs in mathematics come from very young mathematicians.
Mm-hmm.
Arguably that's why certain musical prodigies haven't heard a lot of stuff before and then just know it. There are a lot of weird experiments actually in that regard. I'm making the mad scientist face. Okay, there are some experiments we could do if ethics weren't a thing. Mm-hmm. But I love your point, Matt, because our pal here, Carl Kruszelnicki, is an Australian scientist, and hearing the headline, this guy solved the Bermuda Triangle, instantly makes us think of allegations of the paranormal, the supernatural, conspiracy theories. He doesn't subscribe to any of that. He thinks it's wackadoo. Let's go to an article in Popular Mechanics. We're big fans of them, by Tim Newcomb, which was just published this August 9th. So mid-birthday season for us. Here's what we would say. First, we got to explain what the Bermuda Triangle is for anybody who may not have heard of it. I feel like if you are in the West, or interested in the paranormal, you've heard of the Bermuda Triangle, sometimes also called the Devil's Triangle. It's this loose thing, sort of like picture the points of the triangle being Bermuda, Puerto Rico, Florida, right? Down to the tippy tip of the Florida Peninsula, which somehow sounds dirty. The idea of the Bermuda Triangle is that for time untold, some vessels, but not all vessels, that enter this will mysteriously disappear, right? Mm-hmm. Or they might move through time,
Yeah, get abducted or something, or beamed up or down or sucked into hell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or there's so many awesome theories.
Yeah, exactly. Sea monsters, some kind of it's taken to the depths.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is that ships and planes really have disappeared in this area because historically ships and planes have disappeared in a lot of parts of the ocean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How do we define a disappearance? We're not defining it by an accident happening. We're defining it by not finding the thing after the accident occurs. And it turns out the ocean is kind of big.
Yeah. And deep.
And deep. The ocean's so deep, man. You got to ask it about like Nietzsche and jazz.
Yeah. Have you ever like watched The Wizard of Oz with the ocean, with the sound turned off and Dark Side of the Moon playing? It's wild.
You could project Dark Side of the Moon into the ocean and then no, wait. You would play Dark Side of the Moon underneath the ocean.
Whilst projecting The Wizard of Oz from an original 35 millimeter print.
All the way down.
And obviously the ocean is such a cool cat. This character we're talking about. The ocean always wears sunglasses, smokes cloves, you know what I mean? And never knows where the ship disappeared. The
exactly.
ocean. He's like the Ricky Spanish. That's a reference for maybe 3 people. Anyway, so our buddy Carl here, he looks into this, and he's been doing it actually for a number of years. He didn't just walk in without context. And he admitted, yes, the sheer volume of traffic in the Bermuda Triangle, which is also a tricky place to navigate, may explain why ships are missing. But he also argues we need to have a larger context to this. In his research, when he runs the statistics across the globe, he says the number of ships and planes that go missing in the Bermuda Triangle is the same as anywhere in the world on a percentage basis. And then he points out something really interesting that I think a lot of us didn't think through this when we were kids reading about the Bermuda Triangle in the Mysteries of the Unknown series or something. It's this. Insurance companies don't think there are any shenanigans about. Lloyd's of London isn't charging extra. You know, they're not charging a Bermuda Triangle paranormal danger fee.
Guys.
And wouldn't they?
Yeah, they would. I just had a realization. In October, when we go on our Virgin cruise, guess where we're going?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. What? Nobody told me this.
Yeah.
Smack dab through the Bermuda Triangle.
No, thank you, sir or madam. I'm out.
It's too late. You signed.
Right,
you signed
true.
in blood.
It's true.
And that's maybe it's fortuitous then that we have held our Bermuda Triangle episode for so long that we're going to do a Bermuda Triangle episode in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh my God.
That's why I was pitching it so hard.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. We could get t-shirts with triangles on them.
I made a Bermuda Triangle episode in the Bermuda Triangle.
And all I got was this crummy Bermuda Triangle episode.
We can hand out triangles, the musical instrument.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes.
I love a triangle. It really cuts through the mix. You know? Yeah.
I love a triangle too. I always wondered whether there is someone who is like the world's best triangle player. How would you define that? And all they do is play the triangle.
It's got a certain ring to it.
That's funny, man. Did you know that the King of the Hill theme is called Yahoos and Triangles? I only know this because there's this reboot, and it's amazing, by the way, the reboot. I absolutely adore it. But when the theme comes up, it says Yahoos and Triangles by the Refreshments Place. And I've like never in my life have I known that. And I've been watching King of the Hill since I was a small child.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. And going back to our triangle in Bermuda with again, the cruise we're talking about is a true crime conspiracy cruise. We're doing Virgin Voyages from October 10th to the 15th. We don't know if Carl is going to join us on this, but it turns out Carl has been saying the same thing consistently, and the science keeps appearing to back up what he is saying when he looks through the stats. He says that there is just a probability game and good marketing and maybe some folklore. However, not everyone agrees. So please join us when we go in depth, but hopefully not too in depth, because that would mean the ship is sinking. Whatever, we're keeping it. We're not going too in depth, but we are going in some depth on the Bermuda Triangle live from the Bermuda Triangle. Please do check it out. Couple of other things to mention as we wrap.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. Wanted to end on a good note or an interesting note. Would love to hear everybody's thoughts about this. A Colorado newspaper has asked the local government to give them $350,000 US to publish good news.
Okay. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, I need more.
Right? That's the headline here. Yeah. Okay. So at first it raises some questions, right? There's a place called Douglas County, just south of Denver, and the county government received this proposition, perhaps an indecent proposal, from the publisher of the Castle Pines Connection. And the idea was, look, you give us some money, you support us, we will help make a positive impact on more residents in Douglas County. We'll bring good news to the people.
Who was that YouTube guy that did good news? Was that John? Well, it was a podcast or something. It was during COVID. It was like John Krasinski did like good news type videos that everyone was super stoked on for a second.
Lame.
No, I think it's cool.
I'm just joking.
I don't know. Our bosses said, I tried to pitch a good news podcast years and years ago, and our bosses kind of had that same reaction you just had.
I remember good stuff.
Chomping on their cigars, being like, if it bleeds, it leads, kid. Get out of here.
Good stuff is great.
That's what it was called. Yeah.
That's very kind. I really believed in it. The question here for everybody is, we all know that print newspaper is in serious trouble in the United States, but journalism is likewise imperiled. Should local governments or any government be paying a private paper to, even if it's for the purposes of reporting good news, or does that compromise the journalism? I genuinely don't know.
Journalism's already kind of compromised a little bit. It seems like at least compromising it in a good vibes kind of way.
It's an interesting thing to think about, Ben, because it makes me think about the NPR stuff, public news stuff. Like, is it to receive money from a government, or whether it's local or federal, is that compromising it in some way?
Well, it depends on the nature of the relationship. I mean, it can be seen as a perceived compromise. But government funding for public broadcasting, for example, I don't think even the BBC. I mean, do you think there is an inherent expectation that the BBC is meant to cover the crown and the royal family and the government favorably? I don't think so.
Not favorably, but they do have some bright lines. And those are kind of already baked in because the United Kingdom has some really touchy defamation and libel laws.
Like easier to achieve than here in the U.S., right?
Yeah, easier to smack people down.
Gotcha.
Essentially. I've made some opinions known about that lovely archipelago in the past, and British listeners, no offense, but if you're a longtime listener, you know our opinions on monarchies. We've got more to get to that we'll save for later in the week, folks, or later in the evenings to come. For now, we want to congratulate the Redditor Wicca, who has officially become engaged to her AI chatbot after dating for 5 months. Congratulations. We can't wait to hear your thoughts, folks, on all these stories and more. Stay tuned, stay safe, have adventures, be well, and find us. You can always send us an email, especially if you'd like a random out of context fact. You can always call us on the phone. You can always find us on the line.
Yeah, doesn't it seem like the plot of the movie Her is getting more and more plausible? I think it is. You can indeed find us at the Handle Conspiracy Stuff, where we exist on Facebook with our Facebook group. Here's where it gets crazy. On X, FKA, Twitter, and on YouTube with video content galore for your perusing enjoyment. On Instagram and TikTok, however, we're Conspiracy Stuff Show.
Would you like to join us via a voicemail system and maybe find yourself on air? Well, you can call us.
Party with us.
Yes, party. We like to party. I think that means different things. I still don't fully understand.
It's okay.
I think it's like piñatas.
Exactly. Pin the tail on the donkey.
Oh, heck yeah. Settlers of Catan. Here we go. Call 1-833-STDWYTK. It's our number. It's a voicemail system. When you call in, you've got 3 minutes. Give yourself a cool nickname and let us know if we can use your name and message within that message. If you've got other things to say to us, maybe words, collections of them, even paragraphs, why not instead send us a good old-fashioned email? We are
the entities who read each piece of email we receive. Not just read, we also investigate the links, we check out the pictures, we write back. What are we talking about? What do we mean? There's one way to find out. Walk a little further from the light and meet us here in the dark. Conspiracy at iHeartRadio.com.
Stuff They Don't Want You to Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.